bad.
It is. It means reading into the text what you wanted to say, twisting it to fit your own ideas, your own agenda. It's fundamentally dishonest.
A compromise of truth. And we saw a really stark example of this in the materials, didn't we?
Yeah, the one about the pastor editing his sermon.
He literally crossed out a point he knew was true, derived from the text, because, and I quote, "It might affront some of our brothers who are good tithe payers."
Chilling, isn't it? You're putting financial concerns, keeping donors happy, ahead of proclaiming the truth you found through proper exegesis.
It completely undermines that first principle of drawing truth out. Okay, so exegesis gets the meaning out. But how has that meaning been understood across history? That leads us to the second division, historical theology.
Right. Historical theology basically tracks the development of doctrines over time. It's the history of interpretation.
So it involves studying church history, looking at how different groups formulated their beliefs, their confessions, their creeds.
Exactly. It shows you the journey of an idea, how our understanding evolved, or sometimes devolved.
And one thing that jumped out from the research is how little many churchgoers today know about this history, even about their own denomination's core beliefs.
It's a significant gap. The example given was the Assemblies of God Cremos document in Brazil their statement of faith. Often, members, sometimes even leaders, don't really know what's in it or why.
That lack of historical grounding doesn't matter.
Hugely. It leads to what one source called the microwave gospel.
Microwave gospel, explain that.
It's the idea that people want instant spiritual satisfaction, like microwave popcorn. Quick, easy, maybe superficially filling, but ultimately lacking real substance or nourishment.
So they skip the slow-cooked meal of actually studying the history, the struggles, the deep foundational doctrines?
Precisely. They don't want to invest the time to understand the pillars that took centuries to build.
And this ignorance has consequences beyond just personal depth, right? Like defending the church itself.
Absolutely. If you don't know the church's origins and history, how can you effectively respond to movements like the desagrados, the unchurched, who dismiss the institution?
Because they often ignore that the church, theologically speaking, wasn't just invented, but has roots. The source mentioned Colossians.
Yeah, the idea that the church existed in the mind of God even before creation. Historical theology gives you that perspective, showing it's not just some human club started last week, but part of a long divine narrative.
Makes history feel much more vital, which flows right into the third division, dogmatic theology.
This is where we study those core truths, the fundamental beliefs that have been crystallized in the church's creeds and confessions, the very things historical theology traces.
Now, the word dogma, it can make some people nervous, can't it?
Yeah.
Especially in Protestant circles, maybe?
Oh, definitely. There's often been resistance associating dogma with, say, rigid Catholic pronouncements. The sources mention a huge struggle, like 30 years, just to get the first Assemblies of God creed accepted in Brazil because of that very word.
So why use the term? Why study dogma?
Because you need definition. You need boundaries.
Yeah.
But here's the crucial distinction. A creed, a confession of faith, is a human interpretation of Scripture, meaning it's dynamic. It can be revised, updated, clarified as understanding grows or language shifts. The Bible itself, the source text, isn't dynamic in that way. Its original meaning is fixed.
Okay, so the creed reflects our best current understanding, guided by history and the Spirit, but it's not the Bible itself.
Exactly. It provides necessary guardrails. Without some defined dogma, you end up with theological chaos where anything goes.
Yet there's that critique again about churches sometimes hiding their dogma.
Yeah, the clientelism issue. The fear that clearly stating and teaching the core doctrines, the dogmas, might alienate people, might drive away clients or donors.
So it comes back to that tension between truth and, well, institutional comfort or finance.
It's a real leadership challenge. Do you prioritize rigorous teaching of the foundational truths, even if it's uncomfortable, or do you prioritize keeping numbers up? Dogmatic theology insists on the importance of those defined truths.
All right, let's cover the last two classical divisions. Fourth is biblical theology. This feels like a shift back towards the text itself.
It is. Biblical theology is different from systematic theology. Its goal is to trace how a specific theological truth unfolds progressively through the different books and authors within the Bible.
So you're following a theme, say the atonement, and looking at how it's presented in Acts, then maybe how Paul develops it in his letters, then how it appears in Revelation.
Exactly. You're tracking its development within the biblical narrative itself. Or studying something like eschatology, end times, by connecting what Daniel says in the Old Testament with Matthew and Thessalonians,